students, welcome to the class 10th chapter 5 life process. So this is one of the most important chapter in class 10th. Okay, so what is the main difference between living and non-living, or alive and what is not alive? Yes, living, very simple, which where there is a movement, respiration process, other these all other process takes place, is a living thing, right? Like taking in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide. Yes. And what is not living, where there is no movement, where there is no respiration process, is not living, I mean non-living. Yes, or not alive. So let us see. As I said you, life, yes, means living thing basically has a life. That is, the process is going on, like respiration, excretion. Yes, there are different processes, right, going on. So life process which has life, yes, living is which has life. So what that actually life undergoes the process. So let us see, that is called basically life process. The various basic functions performed by living organisms to maintain their life on this earth are called life process. Yes, basic functions performed by living organism to maintain their life. We human, in the morning we just take a breakfast, I mean we do breakfast. Yes, we breathe, there is a excretion process in our body, the circulation process is going on. Yes, solely we are called a human beings, right, the living beings. We human are living, okay. Plants, microorganisms, these all are also living. Yes, but on different modes they are living. Okay, so nutrition, respiration, transportation or circulation, and excretion. So these are the basic process of life process. Yes, our life process depends on these four things, that is nutrition, respiration, circulation and excretion. So there are some basic definitions. Let us see. The process of acquiring oxygen from outside the body and to use it in the process of breakdown of food sources for cellular needs, called respiration. Yes, this cellular needs money, a body is made up of cells. Yes, so cellular needs we call respiration. Next comes excretion, the process of removing waste products from the body, that is undigested food or unwanted food. Yes, okay. Next comes nutrition. The first one is nutrition, the process of obtaining and using food to support an organism's life, whoever it is, whether the plants, the animals, the microorganism, whichever living organism sustains, it uses food. Yes, or it takes food. Why? To support its life. Okay, if it is having food, then only it can survive. But so I just correct here one thing. Some of the like sadhus and all are there who just go on fasting, right? Agar if you provide them food or no, doesn't matter, but then too they can survive. Yes, so yes, but basically 99% living organism require food. Okay, how do living things get their food? So there are basically autotrophic, heterotrophic, saprophytes. These are type of nutritions, right? We'll let us know in detail about them now. Okay, the process by which organisms create their own food using simple form like water, carbon dioxide and sunlight. Yes, so what kind of organism these are? Autotrophic, that is plants. So these are basically, it's not visible, right? I'm sorry, I'll just change the color here. Okay, so autotrophic plants, autotrophic nutrition is for basically for plants. Yes, the process by which see, we know that plants prepare their own food with the help of with the process of photosynthesis. We have studied this previously, yes, in previous chapter. In the presence of light, carbon dioxide and water, Plants prepare their own food. Okay, so these are basically autotrophic. Auto means self. Heterotrophic depends directly or indirectly on autotrophs. Yes, so the heterotrophs survival depends directly or indirectly. They are directly or indirectly dependent on autotrophic nutrition, that is plants. Okay, so you can see here the word enzyme. Enzyme means which increases rate of reaction. Yes, complex substances have to be broken down into simpler ones before they can be used for the upkeep and growth of the body. To achieve this, organisms use biocatalyst called enzyme. Yes, basically enzyme. This increases the rate of reaction, that is, it helps to break down quickly, fast. Yes, thus the heterotroph survival depends directly or indirectly on autotrophs. Heterotrophic organisms include animals, fungi. Yes, animals and fungi. Okay, next. Next comes autotrophic nutrition. So let us study in detail. Autotrophic nutrition is a process in which the organisms produce its food from simple inorganic materials such as water, carbon dioxide, mineral salts in the presence of sunlight. Simply say photosynthesis. Yes, we can say as a photosynthesis for autotrophic. All the green plants have an autotrophic mode of nutrition, as I said you previously. Yes, autotrophic nutrition is basically for plants. So, carbohydrates are utilized for providing energy to the plant. See, we human in the form of glycogen, and for plants in the form of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are utilized for providing energy to the plant. The carbohydrates which are not used immediately are stored in the form of starch. See, for humans it is glycogen, but for plants it is starch. Yes, for humans. Both are carbohydrates. Yes, this is also carbohydrate and sorry, this is also carbohydrate, which serves as the internal energy reserve to be used as and when required by the plant. Okay, so here is a reaction. 6 molecules of carbon dioxide and 12 molecules of water. Okay, in the presence of sunlight, chlorophyll is responsible for green in color. Yes, so here forms the glucose. Okay, this is basically glucose. Then 6 molecules of oxygen and 6 molecules of water. So just check out and comment in the comment section, is this balanced equation? Yes. In detail again. Let us see what happens during the process of photosynthesis. The following events occur during this process. So, absorption of light energy by chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is responsible for green color. Green color. Conversion of light energy to chemical energy and splitting of water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen. See, conversion of light energy to chemical energy. That is, and splitting of water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, H2O, CO H2O, what it is there, it is getting splitted into hydrogen and oxygen. Yes, reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates. See, reduction of CO2 to carbohydrates. These steps need not take place one after the other immediately. Okay, just understand this term immediately. Why? Because as we all know that even after human eats food, right, after human consumes food, it requires almost 3 hours to digest the food. Same way for plants also. For example, desert plants take up carbon dioxide at night. See, basically you have heard that in the night, please don't go near the trees or plants. Yes, our ancestors used to say, and now also some of them, what our parents will be saying, you don't go and disturb the plants. Why? Because they exert carbon dioxide in the night. yes, which is harmful for the humans, yes, at night, and prepare an intermediate which is acted upon by the energy absorbed by the chlorophyll during the day. Yes, why during the day? Because of presence of sunlight, sorry, sunlight, yes. So this is your, what do you say, uh, microscopic, yes, cross section of a leaf under the microscope. You will notice that some cells contain green dots. Yes, these green dots are cell organelles called chloroplast. Yes, we know what is chloroplast, which contain chlorophyll. So basically chlorophyll, where it is stored in the chloroplast. Yes, so this is phloem, xylem. So this is cross section of a leaf. This is your leaf, this is your midrib, yes, lamina or leaf blade, yes, this is your vein. Okay, this is your cross section. See, chloroplast, here it is. In this, chlorophyll is present. There's a air space. Guard cells, that is stomata, lower epidermis, upper epidermis, waxy cuticle, phloem and xylem are help for the transpiration or transportation. That is, sorry, not transpiration, it's transportation. Vascular bundle. Phloem is carrying food and xylem carries water. Yes. Next. Let us study how the plant obtain carbon dioxide. Yes, we had talked about stomata previously also. This guard cell type. Yes, in the it's in the shape of kidney, bean shape. Yes, which are tiny pores present on the surface of the leaves. Yes, these are, so this is basically a leaf. Yes, this is closed one. This is open one. Yes, which are tiny pores present on the surface of the leaf. You can see these are the tiny pores. Okay. Massive amounts of gaseous exchange takes place in the leaves through these pores for the purpose of photosynthesis. That means this stomata or this stomata, what it is there, right? It is present on the leaf. Yes, this plays a very important role in the photosynthesis. Yes, but it is important to note that here that exchange of gases occur across the surface of stems, roots and leaves as well. Not only through stomata but also stem, roots and leaves. Since large amount of water can also be lost through these stomata, this stomatal pore. Okay, these are called guard cells. You can see kidney shaped cells are called guard cells. Okay, again chloroplast, chlorophyll is present here. Yes, this is stomatal opening. Okay, by this stomata large amount of water can be lost. Okay, the plant closes these pores when it does not need carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. The opening and closing of the pore is a function of the guard cell. Yes, opening and closing of the pore is a function of the guard cell. This is stomatal pore, so they are talking about pore. Okay, the guard cells swell when water flows into them, causing the stomatal pore to open, and similarly pore closes if the guard cell shrinks. Okay, water used in photosynthesis is taken up from the soil by the roots in the terrestrial plants. Other materials like nitrogen, phosphorus, iron and magnesium are taken up from the soil. Yes, we all know that. Nitrogen is an essential element used in the synthesis of proteins and other compounds, or it is taken up as organic compounds which have been prepared by bacteria. Which is this bacteria? From atmospheric nitrogen. It is rhizobium bacteria. Yes, which prepares nitrogen in the soil. Okay, here we'll. Heterotrophic nutrition is a mode of nutrition in which organisms cannot synthesize their own food and derive nutrition by digesting organic matter from plants and animals. Heterotrophic nutrition is further divided into three types: phytes, saprophytes, parasitic, and holozoic. Yes. So saprophytes depends on dead and decaying. Okay. Saprophytes depend on dead and decaying organic matter. Example are bacteria and fungi. Okay. Next comes parasite, depends on host. Okay, living organism for the nutrition. Okay, the organism on which the parasite feeds and derives its nutrition known as host organism, depends on host. Example, fungi, plants like cuscuta, animals like tapeworm, ascariasis. This tapeworm ascariasis is basically found in the humans, right? Next, holozoic nutrition. Parts of plants or animals or whole organism are taken in as food, which is then digested to simple substances and absorbed by cells of the body, like amoeba. Okay, amoeba does not have the shape. Yes, amoeba is shapeless. So parts of plants or animals or whole organism, so they have given amoeba, are taken in as a food, which is then digested to simple substance and absorbed by the cells of the body. Okay, this is holozoic nutrition. Next, how do organisms obtain their nutrition? Okay, yes, they have given the example of amoeba here. The digestive system is different in various organisms. Yes, everyone have different digestive system. In single celled, unicellular and multicellular organism, now they are talking about single celled organism, that is unicellular. The food may be taken in by the entire surface, that is amoeba. Previously we know that, but as the complexity of the organism increases, different parts become specialized to perform different functions. For example, amoeba takes in food using temporary finger-like extensions of the cell surface which fuse over the food particle, forming a food vacuole. Yes, finger-like projections. Okay, you can see a finger-like projection. This finger-like projections fuse the food particle. Here it is. Okay, extensions of the cell surface which fuse over the food particle, forming a food vacuole. Inside the food vacuole, complex substances are broken down into simpler ones which then diffuse into the cytoplasm. The remaining undigested material is moved to the surface of the cell and thrown out. Yes, was in the amoeba. Now, the paramecium, which is also a unicellular organism, the cell has a definite shape and food is taken in the specific spot. What is difference between paramecium? See, basically paramecium, this is paramecium. Yes, amoeba, which does not have any shape. What it does, it just opens its finger-like projections and just grabs a food in a food vacuole. Okay, it completely grabs here. Okay, when for the digestion, but paramecium has a definite shape, right? It has a definite shape and food is taken at a specific spot. Example, this is a food spot, then the food is taken only here, not, it is not using its complete body there like amoeba. Okay, the food is moved to this spot by the movement of cilia. Yes, cilia are small hairy like structure. See, basically present on, when you see the paramecium picture, you'll come to know, which will cover the entire surface of the cell. Okay, so this was a nutrition in the amoeba. So nutrition in human beings, that was in unicellular, this is multicellular. Nutrition in human beings is a process of consuming food and using it to grow, repair and get energy. So it involves the steps like ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and egestion. So what is ingestion? Taking food into the mouth. What is digestion? Breaking down of food into smaller molecules using enzymes. Next, what is absorption? Digested food, absorbing digested food into bloodstream. Yes, that is converting your digested food into bloodstream, passing. Next comes assimilation, that is transporting digested food to different cells for growth and repair. Next comes egestion, process of removing waste from the body. Very simple. Your food process start here, yes, and ends here. Through this complete journey, your body goes through all this process, that is ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and egestion. That is when you take food through mouth. Yes, your food gets digested in the stomach, breakdown of food. Okay, next digested food, next comes the absorption. Let me know in the comment where does the absorption takes place. Okay, Next comes the assimilation, that is transporting digested food to different cells or for growth and repair. Last comes the digestion, that is removing waste from the body. Next, what happens to the food once it enters our body? Naturally, the food has to be processed to generate particles which are small and of the same texture. This is achieved by crushing the food with our teeth. Yes, we have to chew the food. You cannot engulf, and if you engulf the food, it may get stuck in your windpipe or food pipe. Yes, so breakdown of food is more important with the help of the teeth. Yes, for the easy digestion. Since the lining of the canal is soft, the food is also wetted to make its passage smooth. See, when you chew the food with the help of your teeth, we all know that in our mouth saliva is present. Salivary glands excretes saliva. Yes, that saliva, there are some enzymes present. See, another aspect of food we ingest is its complex nature. If it is to be absorbed from the alimentary canal, it has to be broken down into smaller molecules. This is done with the help of biological catalyst called enzyme. Yes, as I said you. See, I said you, the saliva contains an enzyme called salivary amylase. Yes, saliva enzyme is salivary amylase present in the mouth that break down starch, which is a complex molecule to give simple sugar. The food is mixed thoroughly with saliva and moved around the mouth while chewing by the muscular tongue. Why tongue is called muscular? Yes, because it does not have bone. It is just made up of muscles. Okay. Next, the lining of canal has muscles that contract rhythmically in order to push the food forward. See, when you eat food, your food is going forward. Yes, these peristaltic movements occur all along the gut. The stomach is a large organ which expands when food enters it. The muscular walls of the stomach help in mixing the food thoroughly with more digestive juices. Yes, the digestion in stomach is taken care by the gastric glands present in the wall of the stomach. These release hydrochloric acid, protein digestive enzyme called pepsin, and mucus. Why hydrochloric acid? Because, well, see, when the food enters the stomach, whatever the bacteria are there, uh, microscopic organism, will be killed there itself in the stomach. Yes, which is not useful. Okay, hydrochloric acid. Next, mucus is basically for the protection of the stomach inner layer. The hydrochloric acid creates an acidic medium which facilitates the action of enzyme pepsin. The mucus protects the inner lining of the stomach from the action of the acid under the normal conditions. Okay. The exit of food from the stomach is regulated by a sphincter muscle, which releases it in small amount into the small intestine. Yes, your food gets released in the small intestine. From the stomach, the food now enters the small intestine. Here the absorption process takes place. This is the longest part of the alimentary canal, which is fitted into a compact space because of extensive coiling. The length of a small intestine differs in various animals depending on the food they eat. Herbivores eating grass need a longer small intestine to allow the cellulose to be digested. Meat is easier to digest. Hence, carnivores like tigers have a shorter small intestine. So basically, herbivores have long intestine, long small intestine, and carnivores have shorter small intestine. The small intestine is a site of complete digestion of carbs, proteins, and fats. It receives the secretions of the liver, pancreas for this purpose. Okay, which juice does liver secrets and which juice does pancreas secret? Liver secrets and pancreas. Liver secretes bile juice and pancreas secrete pancreatic juice. The food coming from the stomach is acidic and has to be made alkaline for the pancreatic enzyme to act. Bile juice from the liver accomplishes this in addition to acting on fats. So basically bile juice, that is liver, is acting on fats. Fats are present in the intestine in the form of large globules which makes it difficult for enzymes to act on them. So bile salts break them down into smaller globules, increasing the efficiency of enzyme action. So basically fats are broken down with the help of bile juice. The pancreas secrete pancreatic juice which contain enzymes like trypsin for digesting proteins and lipase for breakdown emulsified fats. Please don't get confused between pepsin and trypsin. Yes, pepsin is secreted by stomach and trypsin is an enzyme present in the pancreatic juice. Okay, this trypsin helps for the digestion of proteins and lipids break down the emulsified fats. The walls of the small intestine contains glands which secrete intestinal juices. Yes, the enzyme present in it finally convert the proteins to amino acids. Yes, carbohydrates into glucose and fats into fatty acids and glycerol. Yes, proteins, carbs and fats. Proteins into amino acid, carbs into glucose and fats into fatty acids and glycerol. Yes. Next, digested food is taken up by the walls of intestine. The inner lining of the small intestine has numerous finger-like projections called villi, which increases the surface area for absorption. As I said you previously, absorption takes place in the small intestine. The villi are richly supplied with blood vessels which take the absorbed food to each and every cell of the body, where it is utilized for obtaining energy, building up new tissues and repair old tissue. Yes, your absorption and assimilation takes place in the small intestine. The unabsorbed food is sent into the large intestine where its wall absorb more water from this material. The rest of the material is removed from the body via anus, that is excretion. The exit of this waste material is regulated by the anal sphincter. Okay. So here some information regarding tooth. Yes, if that is a single, that is tooth. If more than one, then those are teeth. Dental caries or tooth decay causes gradual softening of enamel. Yes, basically this is your enamel. Enamel and dentine. It begins when bacteria acting on sugar produces acids that softens or demineralizes the enamel. Masses of bacterial cells grow to cells together with food particles stick to the teeth, form dental plaque. Saliva cannot reach the tooth surface to neutralize the acid as plaque covers the teeth. Brushing the teeth after eating removes the plaque before the bacteria produces acids. If untreated, microorganisms may invade the pulp, causing inflammation and infection. See, you have heard or dentists usually say that after eating, please brush your teeth after your meals. Why? Because the remaining food particles get stuck in your enamel tooth. Yes, enamel tooth, like the space between them, right? This part. So what happens is the remaining food may cause bacteria there. If you don't see, they ask either you gargle or either you brush. Yes, why? To remove this, to avoid tooth decay. Yes, or just to protect your teeth from the damaging. Okay. Next, to avoid infection. ATP is the energy currency for most cellular process. The energy released during the process of respiration is used to make an ATP molecule from ADP and inorganic phosphate. Endothermic, endo means inside. Endothermic process in the cell then use this ATP to drive the reactions. Okay. When the thermal phosphate linkage in ATP is broken using water, energy equivalent to 30.5 kilojoules per molecule is released. Okay, think of how a battery can provide energy for many different kinds of uses. It can be used to obtain mechanical energy, light energy, electrical energy, and so on. Similarly, ATP can be used in the cells for the contraction of muscles, protein synthesis, conduction of nerves impulses, and many other activities. ATP is the energy. adenosine triphosphate. Yes, our energy is stored in the form of ATP. Next comes respiration. In all cases, the first step is a breakdown of glucose, a 6 carbon molecule, into a 3 carbon molecule called pyruvate. This process takes place in the cytoplasm. The pyruvate may be converted into ethanol and carbon dioxide. This process takes place in the yeast during fermentation. Since this process takes place in the absence of air, it is called anaerobic and aerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration means the process taking place in the absence of air, and aerobic means in the presence of air. Breakdown of pyruvate using oxygen takes place in the mitochondria. Mitochondria is called powerhouse of the cell. This process breaks up the 3 carbon pyruvate molecule to give 3 molecule of carbon dioxide. The other product is water. Since this process is a lot since this process takes place in the presence of air, then this is a aerobic respiration. The release of energy in this aerobic process is a lot greater than in the anaerobic process. So sometimes when there is a lack of oxygen in our muscle cells, another pathway for the breakdown of pyruvate is taken. Yes, here the pyruvate is converted into lactic acid, which is also a 3 carbon molecule. This buildup of lactic acid in our muscles during sudden activity causes cramps. Okay, so this complete explanation is regarding aerobic, anaerobic, and how the cramp is caused. Yes, we say, "Are cramp aa gaya," right? Yes, how it is caused? When the pyruvate is converted into lactic acid, that is, which is also 3 carbon molecule, buildup of lactic acid in our muscles during a sudden activity causes cramp. The energy released during cellular respiration is immediately used to synthesize a molecule called ATP, energy molecule, which is used to fuel all other activities in the cell. In this process, ATP is broken down, giving rise to fixed amount of energy which can drive the endothermic reactions taking place in the cell. Yes, so here it is explained. Okay, breakdown of glucose by various pathways. This is your glucose, how your food is being broken down in cytoplasm, where it is taking place in cytoplasm. So 6 molecule carbon is been broken down to 3 molecule plus energy. In the absence of anaerobic respiration, that is absence of oxygen in yeast, and presence of oxygen in mitochondria, that is aerobic respiration. So in the absence of oxygen, we get ethanol, we get carbon dioxide plus energy, that is ethanol 2 carbon molecule. See, from 6 to 3, 3 to 2, where in the absence of air. Okay, that is taking place in the yeast. Now we will see aerobic, that is presence of oxygen, where it is taking place in mitochondria. Here carbon dioxide, water, and energy. Okay, now lack of oxygen, that is lacking mane kam pad raha hai in our muscle cells, that is it is producing 3 carbon molecule. Yes, that is pyruvate, that is lactic acid plus energy. This is the reason for your cramp. Sorry. Yes, I hope the topic is clear for you. If not, please go through this video once again. Respiration. The aerobic respiration pathway depends on oxygen. Carbon dioxide and oxygen are exchanged by diffusion. So basically, what is diffusion? Movement of molecules from lower concentration to higher concentration. At night, when there is no photosynthesis occurring, carbon dioxide elimination is the major exchange activity going on. During the day, carbon dioxide generated during respiration is used up for photosynthesis. Hence, there is no carbon dioxide release. Instead, oxygen release is the major event at this time. Okay, at night, simple they are saying at night in aerobic respiration, when they, in the presence of oxygen, the carbon dioxide used for photosynthesis in the presence of sunlight to prepare food, but in the night it is no use. The plants excrete carbon dioxide in the night. Next, terrestrial animals can breathe the oxygen in the atmosphere, but animals that live in water need to use the oxygen dissolved in water. The animals which live on the land, which reside on the land, can breathe the oxygen, but aquatic animals cannot breathe the oxygen. They take the dissolved oxygen in the water. Fishes take in water through their mouths and force it past the gills, where the dissolved oxygen is taken up by the blood. In fish, respiration is taken place in the gills, and in humans in the lungs. In human beings, air is taken into the body through the nostrils. The air passing through the nostril is filtered by the fine hairs that line the passage. Yes, have you seen some people like they put a wax in nostrils, and they just remove the nose hair? You should not do that. That's basically a very harmful. These nostrils help you to keep the particles, or like you can see here, this filtered hair, yeah, just fine hairs are removed, right? Help you to keep the unwanted things out of the nose. Yes. Okay, the air passing through the nostril is filtered by the fine hairs that line the passage. The passage is also lined with a mucus which helps in this process. From here, the air passes through the throat and into the lungs. Rings of cartilage are present in the throat. This part. Okay, rings of cartilage are present in the throat. These ensure that the air passage do not collapse. Within the lungs, the passage divides into smaller and smaller tubes, which finally terminate in balloon-like structure called alveoli. Yes, this. These are alveoli. Singular alveolus. The alveoli provide a surface where the exchange of gases can take place. The walls of the alveoli contain an extensive network of blood vessels. So in this, they are explaining the process of how the air is entering into the lungs through nostrils. We lift our ribs and flatten our diaphragm, and the chest cavity becomes larger as a result. Because of this, air is sucked into the lungs and fills the expanded alveoli. Yes, singular is alveolus. The blood brings carbon dioxide from the rest of the body for release into the alveoli, and the oxygen in the alveolar air is taken up by blood in the alveolar blood vessels to be transported to all the cells in the body. During the breathing cycle, when air is taken in and let out, the lungs always contain residual volume of air so that there is sufficient time for oxygen to be absorbed and for the carbon dioxide to be released. Okay, in human beings, the respiratory pigment is hemoglobin, which has a very high affinity for oxygen. This pigment is present in the RBC. Carbon dioxide is more soluble in water than oxygen, and hence is mostly transported in the dissolved form in our blood. Okay, so this is our respiration process. So, very simple mechanism of respiration. First, what is respiration? This is an important question. Respiration. The process of releasing energy by the oxidation of food is known as respiration. The process of respiration involves intake of oxygenated air into the cells for breaking the food and releasing energy. So what is the mechanism behind that? Air is drawn into the body through the nostrils. The air from the nasal cavity passes to the pharynx, which leads to the trachea through a slit called glottis, epiglottis, right? The trachea runs down the neck and divides into two bronchi, which lead into the lungs and further divided into smaller bronchioles. The smallest bronchioles terminate into alveoli, balloon-like structure. The walls of the alveoli are thin and covered with the blood capillaries to facilitate the exchange of gases in the lungs. In the alveoli, the exchange of gases takes place, that is, carbon dioxide from the blood is replaced with oxygen, and carbon dioxide is removed out of the body. Yes, and vice versa. In humans, for the process of respiration, air is drawn into the lungs by the process of breathing. When an individual inhales, the diaphragm moves down and the chest cavity expands and the oxygen-rich air is drawn into the lungs. When the individual exhales, the diaphragm relaxes and the chest cavity moves back to its relaxed position and the carbon dioxide rich air is expelled out of the body. So this is a simple mechanism of respiration. Important question in your board. Okay, this is just more to know information, not so important. Okay, next comes transportation. Transportation in human beings. Blood consists of a fluid medium called plasma, in which the cells are suspended. Plasma transports food, carbon dioxide, and nitrogenous waste in dissolved form. Oxygen is carried by the RBC. Many other substances like salts are also transported by the blood. Oxygen is carried by the RBC. Many other substances like salts are also transported by the blood. So, our pump, that is heart. What is the function of the heart? Yes, comment in the comment section. Pumping of blood. We can follow this process step by step. Oxygen rich blood from the lungs comes to the thin walled upper chamber of the heart on the left atrium. Yes, atrium. Okay. The left atrium relaxes when it is collecting this blood. It then contracts while the next chamber, the left ventricle, relaxes so that the blood is transferred to it. When the muscular left ventricle contracts, in its turn, the blood is pumped out to the body. Deoxygenated blood comes from the body to the upper chamber on the right atrium as it relaxes. As the right atrium contracts, the responding lower chamber, the right ventricle, dilates. This transfers blood to the right ventricle, which in turn pumps it to the lungs for oxygenation. Previously, we studied how blood is oxygenated. Since ventricles have to pump blood into various organs, they have thicker muscular walls than the atria do. Walls ensure that blood does not flow backwards when the atria or ventricles contract. Are you seeing this mechanism? Yes, oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. How it is coming from atrium and how it is going through ventricle. Yes, atria. Next, oxygen enters the blood in the lungs. The separation of the right side and the left side of the heart is useful to keep oxygenated and deoxygenated blood from mixing. Such separation allows a highly efficient supply of oxygen to the blood. This is useful in animals that have high energy needs, such as birds and mammals, which constantly use energy to maintain their body temperature. That is warm-blooded animals. In animals that do not use energy for this purpose, the body temperature depends on the temperature in the environment. Such animals like amphibians or many reptiles have three-chambered heart. We humans have four-chambered heart. Two-chambered. Comment in the comment section. And tolerate some mixing of the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood streams. Fishes, on the other hand, have only two chambers to their hearts, and the blood is pumped to the gills. Yes, respiration also takes place in the gills. Why blood is pumped to the gills? Because your respiration is taken place. See, is oxygenated there and passes directly to the rest of the body. Thus, blood goes only once through the heart in the fish during one cycle of passage through the body. On the other hand, it goes through the heart twice during each cycle in other vertebrates. This is known as double circulation. So basically, fishes go through double circulation. Next, the tubes. Arteries are the vessels which carry blood away from the heart to the various organs of the body. Since the blood emerges from the heart under high pressure, the arteries have thick elastic walls. Veins collect the blood from different organs and bring it back to the heart. So who's collecting the blood? Veins. They do not need thick walls because the blood is no longer under pressure. Instead, they have valves that ensure that the blood flows only in one direction. On reaching an organ or tissue, the artery divides into smaller and smaller vessels to bring the blood in contact with all the individual cells. Yes, the smallest vessels have walls which are 1 cell thick and are called capillaries, blood capillaries. Exchange of material between the blood and surrounding cells that takes place across this thin wall. The capillaries then join together to form veins. They convey the blood away from the organ or tissue. Yes. Next, maintenance by platelets. Okay, think about situations when we are injured and start bleeding. Naturally, the loss of blood from the system has to be minimized. In addition, leakage would be led to a loss of pressure which would reduce the efficiency of the pumping system. To avoid this, the blood has platelet cells which circulate around the body and plug these leaks by helping to clot the blood at these points of injury. Yes, when your blood, see, when you got hurt, like when you're injured, yes, your blood suddenly stops bleeding. I mean, your blood suddenly your blood stops, right? Bleeding. You suddenly stop bleeding. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. You suddenly stop bleeding. Yes. Why? These platelets are responsible. They create a mesh. If this is your injury, they create a mesh-like protection. Yes. After some time. Why? To avoid the excess of blood. Yes. Next comes the lymph. There is another type of fluid also involved in transportation. This is called lymph or tissue fluid. Through the pores present in the walls of capillaries, some amount of plasma, proteins and blood cells escape into the intercellular spaces in the tissues to form the tissue fluid or the lymph. It is similar to the plasma of blood but colorless. We all know that our blood is red in color because of hemoglobin, but lymph is colorless. Yes, and contains less proteins. Lymph drains into lymphatic capillaries from the intercellular space which join to form large lymph vessels that finally open into a larger veins. Lymph carries digested and see what does function of lymph? Lymph carries digested and absorbed fat from the intestine and drains excess fluid from extracellular space back into the blood. Okay, so this is lymph is also a fluid. It is a tissue fluid, okay, which is colorless, and blood is red colored. Okay, explain transportation in human beings. The system that transports nutrients and collects, yes, the system that transports and nutrients and collects waste materials for disposal in human body is circulatory system. So basically the circulatory system includes the heart, blood vessels, the circulating fluid, that is blood. Yes, our body consists of blood, circulating fluid and other fluids also. Okay, next, arteries. So basically our blood is being supplied through arteries. Okay, arteries are tough elastic tubes that carry blood from the heart and supply to the various organs of the body. As the arteries move away from the heart, that is on reaching organs and tissues, they divide into smaller vessels. These smaller vessels are called capillaries. Okay, the smaller vessel of arteries are called capillaries, which are very thin, which have thin walls. Arteries are red in color because they carry oxygenated blood. Okay, capillaries in organs and tissues join together to form veins. Yes, capillaries join together to form veins. Veins collect blood from different organs and tissues. Okay, veins are thin walled as compared to arteries. This is because they bring back blood from the organs to the heart and blood is no longer under pressure. These veins carry deoxygenated blood into the heart. Okay, see, arteries supply the blood to the all parts of the body. Yes, supply to the various organs of the body, and veins carry the deoxygenated blood. Okay, capillaries carry the oxygenated blood. Yes, capillaries together form veins. Veins collect blood from the different organs, tissues. Okay, so basically veins carry the deoxygenated blood, whereas arteries supply the oxygenated blood to the body. So let us see how this actually works. So flow of blood in human heart. The heart has, see, basically the heart has vena cava, that is superior and inferior. So they carry deoxygenated blood from the upper and lower regions, that is all over through the body, and supply the deoxygenated blood to right auricle. Yes, later on this right auricle contracts and passes to right ventricle. deoxygenated blood is being passed through the right ventricle through an tricuspid valve. Yes, please note this, or you can just keep in mind. Basically, deoxygenated blood is passed through the tricuspid valve through right ventricle. First right auricle, then it passes to contracts and passes to the right ventricle. Yes, deoxygenated blood through tricuspid valve or auricular orioventricular aperture. Okay, next. The right ventricle contracts and passes the deoxygenated blood into the two pulmonary. It passes into the two pulmonary arteries. Yes, which pumps it to the lungs. So these two pulmonary arteries are opening to the lungs, where the blood is oxygenated. Yes, from the lungs, the pulmonary veins carry. See, blood is coming inside through pulmonary arteries and going outside through pulmonary veins. Transport the oxygenated blood to the left atrium. Yes, of the heart. The left atrium contracts and through the auriculo-ventricular aperture or bicuspid valve. See, tricuspid valve is carrying deoxygenated blood, whereas bicuspid valve is carrying oxygenated blood. Yes, enters the left ventricle. It is coming through right auricle, right ventricle and going outside through left ventricle, left atrium, then left ventricle. The blood passes to aorta from the left ventricle. The aorta gives rise to many arteries that distribute the oxygenated blood to all the regions of the body. Since the blood goes twice through the heart, it is known as double circulation. Okay. Once again, I'll repeat this part. Flow of blood in human heart, how the blood passes through the heart, that is how deoxygenated blood is getting converted to oxygenated. Basically, there is a vena cava in our heart, that is superior and inferior vena cava. So deoxygenated blood from all over the body is collected, okay, right auricle, through right auricle. The right auricle contracts and passes the deoxygenated blood to right ventricle. Yes, through tricuspid valve. The right ventricle contracts and passes the deoxygenated blood to two pulmonary arteries which opens in the lungs, that is which pumps into the lungs, where the blood is oxygenated. Our blood is oxygenated in the, see, through in the respiration process, the breakdown. Yes, so here the deoxygenated blood is getting oxygenated in the lungs by two pulmonary arteries. The pulmonary veins transport the oxygenated blood. Yes, the pulmonary veins transport the oxygenated blood to the left atrium of the heart. The left atrium contracts and through the bicuspid valve, the oxygenated blood enters the left ventricle. The blood passes to aorta from the left ventricle. The aorta gives rise to many arteries that distribute the oxygenated blood to all the regions of the body. Since the blood goes twice through the heart, it is called double circulation. Yes, I hope this topic is clear. Yes. Next. Transportation in plants. So, the phloem is responsible for translocation of nutrients and sugar-like carbs produced by the leaves to areas of the plant that are metabolically active. Yes. So, in simple words, we can say phloem carries the nutrients and starch, sugar-like carbohydrates, that means starch produced by the plant or leaves. Okay. Next, the xylem is also composed of elongated cells like phloem. However, xylem is especially accountable for transporting water to all the parts of the plants from the roots. In simple words, we can say xylem carries the water to all the parts of the plant, even containing the root. From the roots. Since they serve such an important functions, a single tree would have a lot of xylem tissues. Excuse me. Transpiration is a driving force behind uptake and transport of water. It is the process of water evaporation through openings called stomata. Yes, we all know that stomata guard cells, stomatal openings. This creates a pull by replacing the water that has evaporated. This pulling in the xylem tissue would extend all the way down due to the cohesive force. This negative water pressure that occurs in the roots will eventually result in an increase of water uptake from the soil. The sun's energy is strong enough to propel the water from the roots to the leaves. Yes, propel mane खींचना. The heat from the sun causes the water to evaporate, thus setting the water chain in motion. They evolved into tall, self-supporting land plants. Trees have to develop ability to transport water from the soil to the tip that is at the staggering vertical distance. Now, one might wonder how water could withstand the tensions pulled up by a tree. This is because water molecules stick to each other. Taking this strength into account, the loss of water at the top of a tree through transpiration provides a driving force to pull water and mineral nutrients up the trunks of tree as might as the redwoods. Okay, next. Next comes the last part, that is excretion. Excretion in human beings. The excretory system of human beings includes pair of kidneys, pair of ureters, urinary bladder and urethra. Kidneys are located in the abdomen, one on either side of the backbone. Yes. Urine produced in the kidney passes through the ureters into the urinary bladder where it is stored until it is released through the urethra. Yes, this is your urethra, this is urinary bladder where urine is stored. Okay, next. Pair of kidneys means two kidneys. So how urine is produced? The purpose of making urine is to filter out waste products from the blood. Just as carbon dioxide is removed from the blood in the lungs, nitrogenous waste such as urea or uric acid are removed from the blood in the kidneys. Yes, it is then no surprise that the basic filtration unit in the kidneys, like in the lungs, is a cluster of very thin-walled blood capillaries. Okay, in heart, small blood capillaries join together to form vein. Yes, we already read that. Each capillary cluster in the kidney is associated with a cup-shaped end of a coil called Bowman's capsule that collect the filtrate. Okay, so this is Bowman's capsule, this part. Okay, cluster of blood capillaries. Okay, that this collects the filtrate. Each kidney has large number of these filtration units called nephrons. So unit of kidney is nephron. Packed close together, some substance in the initial filtrate such as glucose, amino acids, salts and major amount of water are selectively reabsorbed as the urine flows along the tube. Okay, the amount of water reabsorbed depends on how much excess water there is in the body and how much of dissolved waste there is to be excreted. The urine forming in each kidney eventually enters a long tube, the ureter. Yes, which connects the kidney with the urinary bladder. Urine is stored in the urinary bladder until the pressure of the expanded bladder leads to the urge to pass it out through the urethra. The bladder is muscular, so it is under nervous control. As we have discussed elsewhere, as a result, we can usually control the urge to urinate. Yes, we can control urinate, but not up till there is an extent. Yes, ज़्यादा भी आप नहीं control कर सकते. Okay, so basically in this Bowman's capsule, the filtrate, yes, it collects the filtrate. Okay, next. So that was in excretion in humans, now it is in plants. Plants use completely different strategies for excretion than those of animals. Oxygen itself can be thought of as a waste product generated during photosynthesis. They can get rid of excess water by transpiration. For other waste, plants use the fact that many of their tissues consist of dead cells and that they can even lose some parts such as leaves. Many plants' waste products are stored in cellular vacuoles. Waste products may be stored in leaves that fall off. Other waste products are stored as resins and gums, especially in old xylem. Plants also excrete some waste substances into soil around them. Okay, here some of the waste products which plants excrete. So, gaseous waste are expelled from stomata in plants. Water vapor from the leaves through transpiration. Solid waste stored in the plant body through shedding of leaves, peeling of bark, falling of fruits. Gums and resins excreted from the lenticles in the bark. Yes, these are the waste products in plants. So, this was the chapter of life process. Any doubt, comment in the comment section. One of the most important chapter of class 10. Okay, and thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. See you in the next slide.